Hello everyone, just welcome to another video on some coding fundamentals. So today we're going to just go through just some of the fundamental ideas about coding and problem solving using coding, and how to create kind of procedural instructions in code. So we're obviously going to do this in Scratch to start with, and later on in this term or semester we might move on to some more text-based code systems. So to create a new blank Scratch lesson or like project, you click the button create once you've, and remember to log in so that it all automatically stores and saves all your code. So all the defaults, kind of went through this in the last video, kind of looks like this. You'll have your little game screen here where you have your cat as the default, and obviously all your code blocks here and your active code just down here. Which is really cool. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at how code works and how it operates in some of the kind of rules that you need to think about when you're making code. So first thing I'm going to say is that if you want to code to start, no matter what language you're using, you need to have some form of event or some form of code that tells the computer when to start the code. So in this case, within Scratch, what we need is one of these, what we call event blocks in Scratch. So these event blocks just here, with a large number of different types of event blocks that you'll be using throughout the term to make more and more complex things. But to start with, we're just going to really look at this event block just here. So what this says is when, and this here is clicked. So this is almost kind of also kind of our introduction to what we kind of call conditionals, but it's a very, very basic conditional. It's this, what this block is saying is when this little green arrow up here, arrow flag is pressed, whatever's attached to this block will run. Hopefully some of you already know how this kind of works if you use Scratch in primary school, but those of you that haven't, that's how that works. So just really basically, if I drag in move just here and I press the green arrow, he'll move one step. Notice he only moves once. This is not a loop of any form. Like if you get into more complex coding languages, they might have something like void loop at the loop in their language where they automatically do it continuously forever. But in Scratch, won't do anything forever unless you tell it to. So every time I press this button, obviously it's going to keep on moving 10 steps. Yeah? Let's bring him back to where it'll start. Now, for those might not have done this in math yet, I hope you have, but all code in Scratch and all objects in Scratch operate along an X and a Y axis, right? So you have a Y axis and your X axis. Y being up and down and X being left and right, right? So moving in a positive direction on the Y axis means you're moving up. A little bit of math, I know. Moving up. Moving in a negative direction on the Y axis means you're moving down. Moving in a negative direction on the X axis means you're moving to the left. Moving in a positive direction on the X axis means you're moving to the right. On top of having what we call the position of an object on this XY axis is called its coordinates. So all coding languages, no matter how complex they are, all have this form of basic coordinate system. If it's in 2D like we're using here, it's just X and Y. If it's in 3D, we have X, Y, and Z. Obviously adding for the third dimension being depth. And they also have rotation. So if you see here, we have go to. See just here, go to. Well, that obviously takes the person to that X and Y coordinates. Now you can see its X, Y, and coordinates are written down here of this button. As I move it, those will change. So a good thing to start with any code is to create its starting point where we want to start always being the same. So if you just write negative 163 and then 120, and then we add the move 10, he'll move 10 and then go. But then when I press the green arrow, See how he doesn't go anywhere? That's because he's automatically going to this starting position and then moving 10. Computers do everything instantaneously. So if I take this off and press it, he'll go back to his starting location. Now if I put it back on, he's moved. But he moved super quickly, didn't he? Now if I take it off, go back to his starting location, get rid of this and push that there. You'll see he moves really quickly. Yeah? Put this here. Can't even see him move. Instantaneous. So that's the first kind of thing you need to remember about a computer program, is that computers don't take time. They do everything instantaneously. So if we want to actually see this happen, what you need to have is this. So these are control blocks and they're called weights. So now when we press it, we actually see him do it, right? Yep, because what this is doing is first he's going to the starting position we have him on. He's waiting a second there, then he's moving 10, then he's waiting a second. And so no matter how many times we spam it, he's still going to do that because the weights are stopping us being able to spam it. Now, that's just something to think about. It does all the code in order and as fast as it possibly can. So that's why you need to use these weights to allow it. So another example of why that's kind of something to think about is that if I wanted my little cat to walk across the screen and down the screen, right? So I have move 10, that's a very basic block, but obviously now I'm thinking more in our X and our Y coordinates. We have down here these change X, change Y. These are the best ways to move something. So if I go change X by 150, what we're going to get is he's going to move 150, yeah? So let's stop him. Let's take him back to the start. Now, we see that 300 is across the screen, right? So we wanted to walk there and down. Now, the same kind of concept applies, that if I go like this, are we going to see him walk across and down? Well, no, he's going to appear. Now, he's up, obviously, because why? Because down on the y-axis is negative 300. See, he's just going to instantly do it. And he's not even in the right position, is he? Because if we want to take our guy back to where he was before, if we were to do it right, we should see him do that, and then we want to see him do that, right? Well, what that means is, once again, we need to have the weight in there so that you can physically see him do it. See? Just something to think about. Okay, so what we're going to muck around with doing today is we're going to muck around a bit drawing. So what I really recommend you all first do is you delete the cat. We don't want a cat. You don't draw with a cat. You choose the sprite and you put pencil in and you'll get a pencil. Now, you can play around with this pencil if you want. Spend 5 minutes playing around with it. We're going to make the pencil a little bit smaller. And maybe if you want to go into costumes of the pencil, see there are different pencils, or maybe we don't like that color pencil. Who has that color pencil anyway? So we're going to go and we're going to fill it with the red color just there. It's a red pencil now. It's more proper. And the end of pencils aren't orange. What is this? They're a pinky color, aren't they? Well, that's probably a little bit too pink. Let's make it a little bit darker. It's more of like that kind of pink, right? And obviously, oh, the center of it's not that color either. We need a gold. Where's a gold? Bronzy gold for this, right? Oh, it's probably not quite the right color, but there we go. And then we need like a tip of it. There we go. We got the pencil that we like, right? So there's our pencil now, looking more like a proper pencil now. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with getting it to draw a line. Okay? So you need to think about, how am I going to get this pencil to draw a line? So we know that we have the moves, and another where we can move it along. We have the go to, which will take it to the position that we tell it to go to. So these are some of the things that we have. Okay, so now we want to make this pen, as I said, we're going to make this pen draw. So what we need to do is you need to go to this area where you add extensions, and you need to select the pen. And it will add this little pen set of code for you, okay? And now, so we want to make the pen draw like a swirl or something. You can really choose what you want to draw, but the main idea is we're going to try and make this pen draw. So I'm going to try and make it draw like a square to start with. So obviously we need the pen to start, and then we need to put the pen down. So what this line of code is doing is when the button's clicked, the pencil goes back to its starting location, and then it puts the pencil down. So like it putting it down on the piece of paper. We could set the pen color. So let's make it, always been a big fan of purple. You can set the thickness of the line. So maybe we want it to be a nice thick line. Let's make it like 5. So let's, and then we now need to go back to our motion blocks, remember, and we need to move the pen. So remember, change by X. This way is positive on the X-axis. So change the X by 300. Remember that was it's about 300 to 400 across the screen. We kind of figured that one out before. When we change the Y, because obviously we want to go down, don't we? We want to go down the Y-axis. So let's go. Let's say it wasn't quite 300 before, so maybe we should try 200. So remember what this is going to do is we're going to go to here. We're going to put the pen down. We're going to set the pen color. We're going to set the pen size to 5. Then it's going to do it in exact order. So do we want that? Oh, look at that. Boom. Obviously, we can use this little block to start again if you ever want to do the erase all. So remember, it needs to be negative. Oh, we did it again. Erase all. We'll get there. Maybe it's a good thing to have the erase all at the start as well every time so we can erase it. So remember that it needs to be the negative 200 to go down. And also remember, if we want to actually see this happening, we need to add the weight in there. So don't worry if this is a little bit too much all at the start, and we'll go through it again slowly. I'm just going to show you it all done at the start, then we can play around with it. So we got that, then we'll add another weight, which is under events, by the way. We've got just bottom events, top of control. Waiting a second, go back to motion. So now we want to move this way. What's this? That's negative on the X-axis, bringing in that math. We need to go and, oh, that's set. Sorry, we don't want set, we want change. So we're going to go minus 300, so we can come back to where we were before. And then we're going to go do you know what? I'm just going to try and change that to 190. The only reason is because we want it to be an exact square. And I already know that we're up 190. And then change Y, but this time we're going up on the Y-axis. We actually do want it to be 190. Okay. Oh, I forgot something, didn't I? I forgot my little weight so that we can actually see it happening. Now let's go. So we've got our code all done, right? Good thing to also do is maybe name your project. So you can call it drawing. And it just saved just then for us, but let's just just so that I can show you it's saving. We're just going to quickly press save. I'm going to drag that back out because we don't want it. Okay, and then we're going to press our button. Let's see what happens. Oh, we've got a perfect little rectangle, see? So just to run through that again, what happened here is we went, these lines of code, let's break them each down. It does it in order, remember? It goes erase. We then went to the start, okay? So let's make something else. We're going to go through, this time we're going to go a little slower for those of you that are still struggling a little bit. Remember this button erases all. Good thing to have at the start. Another good thing to have at the start is, when we're starting, is having this block here. This was go to, and then the pens, it's got the coordinates, right? Minus 190, this way on the x-axis, and 135. The coordinates of wherever your sprite is at any given time are written right here. So now what we've got is, I click the start, nothing happens, because what it does is it erases all the drawings and takes the pen to the location it's already at. Okay. So this time, we're going to make a triangle, okay? So do we want the pen here to make a triangle? Probably not. So you just click on the pen and we'll just drag it across to our little start area. Now, we now want it to start at 8 and 150. I didn't want to overcomplicate it all, so I'm not using pen up, pen down right now, but for those of you that are a little bit stronger, we can talk about that later. So now we've got here. So what do we want to do to draw a triangle? So a triangle, first we need to have a diagonal side like here, don't we? Now, so we want the pen to go to like here. Now, there are a couple of ways you can do that. So what we can do is, we know that location. We can drag the pen down to that location. And this is where we want it to go, right? So what you can do is, instead of using move, you can go. Or to that location. So now this is its new location. And then we can drag the pen across. And that's go to that location. And then obviously we want to take it back, and you can duplicate that block, right? So now if you see what I'm doing, if I go events, we add some weights in. Weight. I've forgotten which one was which. Oh no. This could end badly. About to find out if I got it to work, yeah. Oh no, I did. It's a bit crooked, a bit of a crooked triangle, but we have a triangle. See, because what this block is go to is going straight to that coordinate. Now, if you want to get more complicated, you can obviously use turn and stuff. So what I really recommend you do is spend 10 minutes drawing some different shapes and enjoying that. And for those of you that want to get more advanced, I am going to show you quickly one more advanced thing. So we got our pen. Let's take him over here. Make that our go-to. That's got operations. Sorry, let's go down to pen. That's what I wanted. Pen. Obviously, we're going to go pen up, pen down. So what we're doing is taking the pen up, we're going to the location, and we're going pen down. That way, as it's flying back to the start, it's not drawing a line. Then, we're going to do something really cool. We want it to constantly glide 1 second to mouse pointer. So this glide means it's slowly moving there to wherever your mouse is. So do you want to see what's going to happen? Yeah, glides to where your mouse is. Now, that stopped straight away. Why? Because it only did it for 1 second. So let's take this button back up and go there. Okay, now, if I bring in this little button, forever, now it gets more cool. Put it in there, press start. We can start making it move around as my mouse does. Now, if you want it to be more instantaneous, I'm going to take this off again. You can not use glide. and you can just use go to just here and click mount motion, and this will be a little bit more quicker. I'm drawing, and then obviously, we can take it off again so we can start. Obviously, then you can play around with some of the more kind of things. We could do something like this: change pen size by 1, change pen color by 10, and add it in there as well. Now on this thing, it'll randomly change size and color, get bigger and bigger, which is kind of cool. Just something to think about. So, yeah, spend some time playing around with it.